Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a bit about my last week in games. Only a little bit of EVE Online for me. Last week it was super busy at work. I had to go to the office quite often. Lots of important meetings, lots of projects that needed work done. And as a result, when I got home, I was really tired and hardly had any time for some gaming. So all I managed to do was a little bit of EVE every evening. Of course, we have the skilling spree that's going on. So that's kind of perfect if you just want some short stints. Just go out there, try a little bit of exploration, maybe hunt for a couple of anomalies. You get your kills, you get your skill points. And you can definitely say that you've done a little bit of EVE on that day. And then what I'm keeping up with, of course, are my classics, which is PI on a daily basis, and then the blueprint copies as well. The run for last week was for the Dreadnought BPCs. Those are still lagging behind a little bit. And personally, I'm kind of curious if that's not going to get worse, because if there's going to be new capital ships, I personally think there's a high chance that there'll be faction Dreadnoughts, and so that might push out some of the normal Tech 1 Dreadnoughts as well. All depends on the stats, the costs and all of that stuff. But yeah, it's really gonna be time for me to, I think, move the carrier blueprints as well and start running some BPCs for that, because the Dreadnoughts really not doing that well. The rest of what I'm doing though, still at extremely high prices. Freighters, 30 million, 20 million for a couple, and then even the Orca is up to 5 million and more, which is a pretty nice margin when it comes to that BBC, and everything from that batch is selling very quickly. So by the time I was moving my freighter BPCs in, I had nothing left except one blueprint contract for not freighters, my dreadnoughts, excuse me, except one contract for one dreadnought BPC was still up and running. Everything else was sold within less than a week, so that's going really well, and it's a nice little bit of cash flow that I'm making at the moment. Just need to find an answer to those dreadnoughts, because that's not doing all that well. And then my PI, of course, I run the extractors on a daily basis for like 23.5 hours. Usually does work out for me. And then I gather everything in Jeddah at the moment. And if you follow EVE Talk, you know that prices have gone even more crazy. I was already super surprised at our strong summer and our strong fall season. It felt to me like there is a lot of large ship construction that is demanding a lot of PI, and that demand is very, very strong. And so those prices were already holding on really well throughout the entire period, but now probably with the announcement from EVE Vegas for those potentially new dreadnoughts, but those new larger ships that are coming as well, quite a few of them shot up again as well, and we're looking at really good prices. So we're gonna start selling, keeping a little bit in reserve, because who knows where all of this is going when the expansion actually hits. But for now we're still in that preparation mode. What I'm probably gonna start to do is move some individual ships into Dodixie as well, because I read that the new corporation that will basically sell you the heraldry in exchange for ships, one of their stations is going to be in Dodixie itself, which is very close to Yona, our main base of operations. So I'm going to start prepping for that as well. We'll have to take a look on CC how all of that works exactly, but I kind of want the Alliance logo on my ships. It's definitely one of my goals at this point as well, and I want to be ready when the expansion hits. But yeah, that's really all I've done for the week. Make sure I got my skilling spree, sold some more BPCs, and I'm managing my PI at the moment. I am looking forward to everything else, and we might start to see a little bit more movement when it comes to development as well. First few changes should be out on CC. The new faction warfare systems, for instance, I think were out on CC, and yeah, it's less than a month to the expansion, so I do think that for those that do go on CC, we'll be looking at a couple of pretty interesting weeks now as CCP puts everything on there for us to test and take a first look at. Now, always keep in mind, CC is not set in stone. All of that will still be subject to change, but I do think that we always get a pretty good idea as to their design decisions, and that should allow us to get ready for that expansion that should be coming November 20th. And that was my last week in games, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.